Yes, it runs. And I was going to test fire the motor the same way that I did on the stand after I rebuilt it with a car battery and a temporary fuel source, but I decided that I wanted to test the electrical system on the bike and see if I could start it with the start button and the key. I thought it would be more rewarding. One of the biggest problems I was realizing before I even started this was that the battery, it takes 500 to 600 cold cranking amps to turn this thing over. And the battery I'm using, this is 650 cold cranking amps. And not only is it huge, like, there's no way this is fitting under the seat. But also, this weighs almost 40 pounds, and that's 18 kilos. I did some measuring of the available space in here after I removed the regulator rectifier, because this has an alternator and it doesn't have a stator, so I don't need a regulator rectifier. I measured the approximate space and I looked around, and what I found was this. This is a lithium iron phosphate. It fits in the hole. Oops, sorry. It fits in the hole. And this is what I used to test fire the motorcycle. It has the beans. It has 700 cold cranking amps. And the best part is it weighs 6.5 pounds or 3 kilos. I really enjoy the fabrication portion of building a motorcycle, but I've decided, as much as my fingers are itching to get on some of the other tasks that I need to finish, I am going to finish the electrical, or at least get a start on this electrical system. This bike basically is half analog and half electronic. So this is the ECU, the engine control management, and I've decided that I'm going to delete that, even though it has some of the functions on the dashboard, like the fuel gauge and the temperature gauge, but I think I can emulate those. Oh, and the tachometer. I'm going to attempt to emulate that part and then get rid of pretty much all this. This is all, I don't have spark plugs anymore. I don't have crank position sensor. I don't have regulator rectifier. I don't have, I am going to need to figure out water temperature, but I'll figure that out. All the injectors, I don't need that. The O2 sensor, the intake temperature sensor, all these things I can cut out, but I have to cut out these parts judiciously because I want to keep a lot of it, and I'm going to repurpose some of it. For example, the starter motor, there's a starter solenoid on the bike, and this starter, I don't know if I can, has its own solenoid built in. So I'm going to use the starter solenoid for the glow plugs. And I'll need a button or something to activate the glow plugs. And what I decided is I never use this pass button. It seems redundant to me because you can just as easily flip the lights on that way. So I'm going to use this switch for the glow plugs. In order to get a tach signal, I'm going to have to build a trigger wheel or a reluctor or whatever it's called. I've done this before. somehow I'm going to have to attach it here so that it gets, well, it needs 3 pulses for each revolution, which is nice because this is split in 3. But I also don't need 9,000 RPM, 11,000 RPM. So my little plan is that I'm going to basically triple the, I'll need a sensor here, a Hall effect sensor. I'm not sure which type I need to use, but I'll have it trigger 9 times per revolution. And that way the tachometer will basically show 3,000 RPM. Well, it'll give me, 3,600 RPM will be over here in the red zone. And then what I'll do is take this, the gauge plate, I think. Take the gauge plate and make a new one that has just 3,600 RPM in the red line. I think that'll be fun. That'll be down the road. I won't need a tachometer right away. But I do want to watch the temperature gauge. I do have to make that work. I'll worry about the fuel gauge later. I think I can emulate the fuel gauge to make it work. The speedometer and the odometer all are analog and run off of just power and the front wheel sensor. I made a promise to myself that I'm not going to do any more fabrication, all the fun stuff, until I finish all the wiring. When the zombie apocalypse happens, I want to be able to have a bike, a mode of transportation that is very fuel efficient, can run off a variety of fuels, and will survive, of course, an EMP bomb, because we all know that's happening. And, how am I going to kill zombies if that bike doesn't run because they chewed the wires up?